It's a very beautiful day, beautiful morning in Laguna Beach, and I have been writing for about an hour now. And it's something that I really enjoy doing is like writing and sitting in my journal and reflecting and thinking about where I am and where I am going. And I have this black journal here, and I have a very nice pen, gold and black pen, because I believe that my thoughts are extremely valuable. The things that I put on paper are really valuable, so I got a really valuable pen as well, and a very valuable notebook. And I've just recently picked up journaling again, and I picked up reading a lot more again, even though like I consistently read. I've been reading a lot more than I normally do. Like I'm talking about multiple hours a day, and I aim to write for multiple hours a day as well. And I used to tell myself that like I'm too busy to do it, but I'm not. I can always find the extra time in the day. And one thing that I've been writing about a lot lately is this concept of if not me, then who? If I'm not going to be the one to do what I want to do when I want to do it, if I'm not going to be the one to have the life that I want to have, if I'm not going to be the one to accomplish my goals, if I'm not going to be the one to build the biggest brand in the world, if I'm not going to be one of the greatest businessmen of our time, then who will be, right? And when you think about that concept, even for yourself, and apply it to yourself, if not you, then who? And that really inspires me because we're all blood and bone. We're all our brain. We're all our thoughts. We're all like what we reflect on, how good we get, our skill sets, how we work on our skills, and so on. And when you realize that you can really get anything out of yourself. And I've been so laser focused on getting the most out of myself and doing the deep internal work required to be where I'm looking to go and to compress my timelines. So compressing my timeline to, great, you're in a position where, I'm in my 20s and I've accomplished a lot. I'm in the top 0.1% of 25-year-olds. That's not enough though. Like I just want so much more out of myself because deep down in my mind, I know how much I can get out of myself. When I went to go get hypnotized a few weeks ago, and the doctor told me that I was at 30% of my total current capacity, it blew my mind because it showed me that I have so much more to go. And it showed me that like a lot of the internal work that I need to do, it still needs to be done. And so that's why I do this. And it's important for you to understand that like you can have it, right? And if you do that internal work on yourself and you figure out what it is that you want, then you can have it. And a lot of, for me, is like, I feel like a lot of people live lives of trying to impress other people and saying things that they think other people want to hear, as opposed to saying things that they want to hear, as opposed to saying what they actually think. We live in a world today where people don't actually voice their opinions based upon what they believe. They voice their opinions based upon what sounds cool. And I've always been the complete opposite. I don't want to go with the grain. I want to go against the grain. I don't want to be known for copying someone else. I want to be known for creating my own lane and doing what I want to do, and bringing the people up with me that are also doing what they want to do and going against the grain and being disruptors, right? Disrupting a space, not conforming to it. I'm all about disruption, and that's what you should be about if you want to make radical change in your life. Like you have to think about this. In order to actually make radical change in your life, you have to create some sort of disruption, right? It has to be a disruption in your habits, a disruption in what you consume, a disruption in what you think about, a disruption in how you work on yourself, a disruption in everything, in order to disrupt the pattern of where you're currently going and change it and make things better for yourself. And when I go in here and look, like, I have so many journals, but this one I'm starting is one that I know I'll be most proud of, just because some of the things that I write in here, just about how hyper focused I am right now on building and growing my businesses to 100x this year, to the next level, and so on, and helping people through all of that is something that, like, it just means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And one thing that I've realized this year and over the last year is my reasons for scaling and wanting to scale are no longer selfish. When I was coming up, it was all about me. It was all about how can I invest more money for myself. It was all about how can I go on this trip for myself. How can I go buy this car for myself? How can I live in this place for myself? Well, now that I've done all those things, for me, what I think about now is my children. I think about the people that come behind me. And so last year I became a father, and I kid you not, like the sheer motivation that gave me. I mean, I think I 50x my income last year, like just from different investments, the actual businesses, and so on. I 50x what I made the year before. The thing is, I think about is like, well, why did that happen? Well, that happened because I had a reason to. It happened because I had reason to want to go and like multiply my income by a lot and multiply how much I'm bringing in by a lot. And I did. And I have even more reason to want to do that this year. And the reason why I'm always talking about income and making money and why my channels surround that is because making more money just gives us more choice. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, that's just not for me. That's just not for me. But then again, if not you, then who is it going to be? Who's it going to be if it's not you? If you have a vision and goal in your head and you don't accomplish it, who's going to accomplish it? You think about the billions of people that die in the graveyard, and those are billions of ideas, billions of lives that wanted to be lived that weren't lived how they wanted to live them, people whose lives got cut short, and so on, and we're still here, and we still have the ability to go and get what it is that we want. And the things that I feel like are really important to me are being able to have the time freedom and the financial freedom to be able to do things like this and work on myself and work on my spirit and work on myself as a father, work on myself as a husband, work on myself as a man of God. And that's why making the money is so important, because if you're in survival mode all the time, you don't have time to do this. You have to go to work, so you don't have time to do this. If you have to grind, so you don't have time to do this. And like when I was on the come up, I was always on the grind. I didn't have any time to do this. So any stress that I felt, anything that I felt, I didn't care about it. I was like, nah, we gotta just work. But now that there's a whole other level that I'm getting to, and my goal is to have well over $1 billion liquid within the next 10 years. So that's a whole nother level that I have to get to. That's a whole nother level of investing. There's a whole nother level of leverage. There's a whole nother level of hiring people, systems, positioning myself in a way that allows me to get the deal flow that will yield those kind of returns. So the next 10 years of my life even the next 2 years of my life, it's just so much radical change that I need to make within myself and like how I speak and what I do and who I'm around and so on in order to get to that level. But I want to get to that level not because I want to go buy another house or whatever. It's because I want to sit here and really feel like I got the most out of myself. So I've realized that now. Like before, what I thought was like, yeah, well, it's just because I want to get all these cool cars and whatever. But now I know that it's because I want to get more out of myself. And if I'm not going to get the most out of myself, then who will? And so then you get this thing in your mind where you're like, yeah, man, it really is me. And all the things I want to do are within myself. They're internal. So I have to do the internal work on myself. And a lot of people it's funny because the most successful people I know are the ones that do this kind of work. And they're the ones that find the reasons within themselves. They're the ones that know that it has nothing to do with the business strategy, but how you approach the business strategy and where you are mentally and where you are internally that actually makes the strategy work. And so a lot of the time when I talk about spirituality, mindset, doing the internal work, the people that are in the worst financial position look at a video like this and then they'll be like, oh, bro, just tell me how to do the deals, bro. Just tell me how. It's like, you're not understanding, like, there's so much more to it. There's a lot more to being able to operate at a certain level on a consistent basis, because the amount of war that you have to go through the amount of stress that you have to go through. If you don't do the internal work, you're not going to have stoicism through it. You'll burn out and then you won't do it anymore. Or you'll plateau and you'll be at the same level forever. I've seen guys that be at the same income level for 10 years straight. And I'm like, how are you at the same level? You didn't grow? Or just guys that'll be like, oh yeah, like I don't want to make any more money because if I make more money, then this is going to happen. And I'm going to get this kind of pushback. Someone's going to say this about me. I quite literally don't care about that. I care about making sure that I serve the people around me in the best way possible. And I mean, look, if someone has something negative to say about me, great. It means I'm doing the right thing. And you shouldn't care if people have something negative or positive to say about you. There's a quote that I read recently that said, if someone says something positive about you, you shouldn't take flattery from it. It shouldn't matter. And if someone says something negative about you, it shouldn't offend you. It is what it is. Keep it pushing because internally you've done the internal work to know what it is that you want and where you want to go. It's important for you to have internal feedback loops in yourself that are positive feedback loops. Things that you're telling yourself that are positive and that are actually pushing you forward on a day-to-day basis. Not things that are negative. Not like, oh man, I'm not good at this. You have to reframe the stuff like that to like, I'm not good at this, to what do I need to do to get better at this? And if I practice this every day, I'll get better. And I'll even share, like, this is even personal stuff. I put here, I feel like it'll take me longer than I'd like to get to my goal. But if I take the action required to get there intently, I know I can compress my timeline into a much faster timeline. And I've seen that to be true in every part of my life. When I used to think that like $1 million was a lot of money, and then to have made $1 million times a few, I understand now that it's not that much. It wasn't that much. And so then it's like changing the perspective. Okay, well, your next, what you want to do next is get to 100 million. Then you want to get to 300 million. Then you want to get to 1 billion. Okay, well, how do you compress the timeline to get there? And what are the thoughts, feelings, actions, and emotions that you need to make and take in order to get there? And a lot of it now is like, I'm starting to dress differently. I'm starting to act differently. I'm starting to talk differently. I'm starting to move differently. I'm starting to think differently. Even like my content, I've noticed that my content is changing. Everything about me is changing because internally, it's like subconsciously and internally, I know what I need to do to change myself and create the next character, the one that's going to be the one that's the billionaire. And I have to be that now. So for you, you have to think about that version of you that is a multimillionaire, the version of you that has the investment portfolio that you want to have and the travels where you want to travel and so on. What do they do? Like what kind of habits do they have? What kind of habits have they inherited? How do they dress? How do they talk? How do they shake hands with people? Do you make eye contact with people? And so on. You have to think about all this. When you start doing all these things, you can actually compress your timeline. When you start thinking about this, you can compress your timeline. And one thing that I will say, and this is how I'll end the video, your spiritual connection is so important because whatever you believe in, I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, but you have to believe in something that's much greater than yourself. For me, I believe in God, and I go to church every Sunday and every Saturday as well, and I read the Bible, and that works for me. It works very well for me. What you have to understand is you by yourself cannot, a human by themselves can't just take over the world, can't just conquer everything. It's like you have to have something bigger than yourself. You have to have something outside of yourself, something much bigger than you that gives you that power. And a very common theme in the Bible is like, you can do all things through God. You can do all things through a more powerful force because this world is so much bigger than you. And so that's one that holds true to me. And through that, you also have to understand that you are a being of God. So you being a being of God, you have an abundance of resources. You have an abundance of things that you can accomplish because God is within you. So that's how I think as well. God is within me, so I should have abundance. I should have everything that I want out of this life And I should have that so that I can go and make the impact on the people that are around me. So if you're in a situation where you're feeling down right now and you feel like you can just get so much more out of yourself, you feel like you can do better, you feel like you can be more, you feel like you can be better, understand that you can, and ask yourself the question every day: if not you, then who? If not me, then who? If not me, then who? If it's not going to be me that accomplishes my dreams and goals, my visions that God gave me, that He wouldn't have given me if He didn't believe I could accomplish them. If not me, then who? And if you watched this far into the video, I appreciate it. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the video, and I'll see you in the next video.